In this video, we'll be going through creating a notebook instance in AWS and then cloning a GitHub repository into that instance or attaching it upon creation. When you sign into your AWS account, you'll arrive at the console home. Amazon SageMaker AI might appear under recently visited. If not, we can search it in the search bar. Click on Amazon SageMaker AI. This will bring you to the Amazon SageMaker AI page. And then on the left-hand side, under Applications and IDEs, click on Notebooks. This will bring you to the Notebook Instances page. Make sure you're clicked on Notebook Instances, and then select Create Notebook Instance on the right-hand side. We'll now fill out the parameters and options for the notebook instance as we create it. First, fill out the notebook instance name, making sure that it follows the format outlined underneath. Then create the notebook instance type. This should align with the processes that you'll be running in the module that you are currently planning on going through. The notebook instance type should be defined in the GitHub repository of the module where you will be running your processes in the README file within that repo. Also in the repo, you should see a recommended volume size, which is an important consideration since you will be likely copying in data and potentially databases and various files that can take up space. And making sure that you have provisioned enough space is an important consideration. Although if the instance is not running, you can always edit this after you've created the instance. In an example repo, we will look at the README and see if they define the instance type, which here is MLT3 medium. This is also the default instance, so we can keep that the same. But they also recommend 25 gigabytes of volume size. And so we'll change that default value, which is 5 gigabytes, to 25 gigabytes to make sure we have enough space. Next, we'll select the AIM role that will be attached to the instance. Here you can use the creation wizard to make sure you have a defined policy that has been attached to the instance. You have to do this. You may have defaults that your administrator or other user have set up for you that you can select from the drop-down menu, but read the IAM policies and be careful to, as you go through the module, to read any errors to see if there are permissions policies that require you to stop the instance and attach new roles so that you can run through everything in the module. Again, some guidance should be provided in the README should you run into any errors that are tied to execution roles or IAM policies. The optional fields we will keep the same except for Git repositories. Here we can clone in a repo during the creation of the instance. So if you click on default repository and then click on clone public Git repository to this notebook instance only, we can then go back to our example GitHub repository, click on code, copy the HTTPS URL, and then paste it into the Git repository URL. This means that upon provisioning of the VM, the Git repository will automatically be cloned in, and when you first open Jupyter Lab, it'll already appear in your folders. We can then click Create Notebook Instance, and we can see JP Demo Instance version 3, which is the one we just created, is now pending as it's being provisioned. If you intended to attach a GitHub repo upon creation, you can always go into your stopped instance, click Edit, and then go to the GitHub repositories section and clone in your GitHub repository after the fact. Again, as long as the VM is stopped, you should be able to do this. I previously created a demo instance version 2 that is already running to show you what it looks like when we open Jupyter Lab. For this instance, I had previously attached the GitHub repository so that it would be cloned in while the instance was being provisioned. So as this opens up, we should already view the example GitHub repo that we showed before. And as you can see, it's already in here. Alternatively, if we don't want to clone this in upon provisioning or go in and edit after the fact and stop our VM and then attach it manually using the edit instructions I gave previously, we can go into the terminal and use a git clone command to clone in the instance. When you do this, you want to make sure you know where you are within your instance. Here, we want to change to the SageMaker directory, where now we can see the previous instance. And then I can use git clone and the HTTPS URL I previously copied to clone in. Now it says fatal destination. However, that is because the GitHub repo already exists, but I can just delete that, run it again. And now that I've deleted it, it should go through the process of cloning in the repository. However, it won't overwrite it. As you can see, it just appeared, and now I can go through and run the modules. That is all for this video. Thank you so much.